Amen. I'd like everybody who is on the youth mission trip to come join me on the stage here in the chairs. We are missing just 2 people, I think. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing a few more than that. Oh, I bet some of them. Sarah Moorhead came, and she probably has to be with the nursery kids. Jake, will you help me move this? So this morning we're talking about the youth mission trip. We just got back last Friday, a week ago Friday, and we were in Louisville, Kentucky from June 26th through July 1st. We had 11 people. Sarah Moorhead, who coordinates the nursery, she was one of our biggest helps. She was our only veteran leader, so I leaned on her a lot. Chris was another one I leaned on a lot. He loves work, has this strange love for it that he smiles while he works the whole time, and it was contagious, I'm glad to say. I also had help from Sarah's daughter, Addie, came with us, and she was great to have with us too. And also David Dahl. And he and Isaac together have this corny sense of humor. Puns were everywhere. And, I think that it's a kind of niche kind of humor that we probably all only got about 25% of it, but we laughed at the whole thing anyway. And they are actually at a family reunion today. That's why Isaac and David couldn't be here. But David, always at the right time, would sneak in some really wise, profound 5-word comment or something. I don't know if he's done this to you, but you got to look out for David. When he talks, I get quiet, because if it's not a joke, it's like a 5-word, really powerful wisdom proverb or something. So kind of the format of this morning, I told them we'll have pictures going up on the screens, all kinds of things. That actually is a pathway that we cleared going into the camp. But I'm going to kind of give a summary of what we did and then ask them some questions, ask them for feedback about what their experience was and what it meant to them. Yeah, I had just eaten a sour Skittle. Isaac and I were having a contest to see whose face looked worse after eating sour Skittles. And the winner is, no. So we get to the camp. They had all kinds of work for us to do. They needed us to restack some hay bales in their workshop. Somebody had stacked hay bales poorly, and the hay bales had fallen over and knocked over some wood that had knocked over a cabinet, so they're like, could you clean that up? And we went to some museums, too. We cleaned up the workshop. We had a couple guys on wood splitting. Who are my wood splitters? Log splitters. For 3 days straight, practically. Who cleared brush along, how long would you say that road was? A couple mile long? Little road inlet to where the camp was. And what else work did we do? They shingled a roof. Who shingled a roof? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a great idea, just throw them all up there on a roof. Sarah was up on the roof with them. It was good fun. And only at Mission Trip do you get the opportunity to do these kinds of, They say, oh yeah, you don't have to be trained, and then you get there and they're like, so is anybody trained? And we're all like, you told us we didn't have to be. And they're like, well, yeah, that's all right. And they put us to work on just about anything, with a little bit of help along the way. We got there. We got it done. What other jobs am I forgetting? Oh, we weeded gardens and picked up a lot of trash around the camp. And what activities did we do? Or what was one of your favorite activities that we did? Anybody?
So we really don't know who did this. Noah Carpenter. But somehow the men's bathroom door got locked from the inside, and we had to go on a little adventure to try and open it. We went as far as unscrewing the handle and having to force the door open, so that was a pretty interesting experience. It kind of combined teamwork to all get the door open, I guess. So that was kind of funny. One of the things we did on the very first day, I think, we were there, was a low ropes initiative course, and we weren't really in the air at all. It was just kind of a bunch of challenges that combined all of us as a team to get stuff done. One of them was there was a big balance beam, and so everyone except for Laura stood on one side of the balance beam, and somehow we still managed to keep both ends off the ground while singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat all the way through at a decent tempo. So that was kind of cool. I never thought we'd be able to get that done. And another thing we did was there was that event. There was a big rope swing, and the middle of it, in between the two trees where the rope was attached to, was lava, and so you couldn't touch that. And so you had to swing over in a bunch of different ways, and at one point you had to start back so far that you'd be stumbling when you land, so you needed everyone else in the group to kind of catch you so you wouldn't fall and get mud everywhere. So that was another team building exercise. It was just really fun. It was interesting to see all the different stuff they had us do.
Yeah. That team building that we did the very first day, we came back to that a lot. I think two of our biggest takeaways were that each person has different strengths and talents. You can think of this in terms of the church too, but each person in our group had different strengths and different talents and different abilities. And for any single course that we had to go, any single obstacle we had to get over, not everybody could do everything. We had to scale a wall that was 10 feet up, and so you have people that are strong enough to do the lifting, people that are focused enough to do the spotting and make sure that they don't lose their balance while they're up there. People that are up on the top that are willing to grab somebody coming over the wall and pull them all the way over without hurting them. And I think that we did apply that then later when they were working. Dave Dahl mentioned to me that he was really proud of the boys that he worked with because he says, they gave me easier tasks. He goes, I'm not a handyman, and they could see that, and they honored me by giving me easier, doable tasks, and that was really meaningful to him. And that's kind of what our whole week was about. It was like, okay, what are you able to do? Okay, I'm able to do this. I'm not able to do this. Okay, I can help you there. All right, what's one of the museums we went to? Who wants to talk about one of the fun things that we did and just... Gosh, you guys are no fun. Just kidding. They don't really remember the museums. They remember the ridiculous jokes that they had going on each other during the other fun being had. No, we went to the Louisville Slugger Museum. We went to the Kentucky Derby Museum. Everybody had so much fun at the Kentucky Derby Museum that as a group they decided, we got to see Secretariat. We got to rent that movie. And Noah goes up to me and says, I love doing things for the group. Can I rent the movie Secretariat? And I was like, yes, because that's awesome that that's on your heart to serve the group and to it was clear that everybody in the group was on board, so I'm like, I was going to go low media this week, but we are doing this. We are watching Secretariat because the group wants to. That was one thing. I gave them some rules at the beginning of the week. I said, only walk around in threes, and as far as your cell phones are concerned, I want you to be self-controlled. This is an opportunity you have that you don't have to look at your phone during the week. And so you could be kind of free from what you normally feel tethered to, And so I didn't make a hard, fast rule. I just said it that way. And I was very, very pleased and that most of the kids were very self-controlled and made that decision themselves to keep their phone away. There's a few times, we'd have some free time, downtime, and that was cool to have it out then because even when you spend this much time with people, even at home, you're like, okay, I got to have my alone time. I got to have my time with people. And they were like, everybody wanted to be in that little bitty living room that we had in our lodge all the time. Even when they were getting on each other's nerves, they still were wanted to be in our little living room and with the group. And so we just had so much good come from that. I don't know, who else wants to tell about just connections made with other people on the group?
When we were doing our low ropes, you were talking about the wall. I think probably one of my favorite moments on the trip was when we were supposed to climb the wall, and like she said, there's a group that was supposed to push from below, and there's a group that's supposed to pull from above to try and help to get the person over the wall. And a couple of the fellows were wanting Melody to do the wall, and she said, no, I don't want to do it. And they said it a couple of times, and then finally I just said, no, fellas, she doesn't want to do the wall. And without hesitation, not even a moment, she says, I'm going to do it. And actually, I think she shot up over that wall quicker than all of us. But I was really inspired by how Melody didn't want to do it at first. And then as soon as I came to her, defense saying, no, she doesn't want to do it, she was just, no, I'm going to do it. And I was really inspired by that.
Was there anything that you guys learned about yourself while you were on the trip? Apparently that a couple of the guys look good in derby hats. No, but seriously, the last night, I said, okay, everybody in the living room. We turned the lights down. If we would have had a candle, we would have done that. But for our ambiance lighting, we had a cell phone with the flashlight turned on. And then we went around the circle and we said strengths that we had seen in each other and things that we admired in one another. So what that looked like was, each of us going around the circle and saying something about Jake. And then each of us going around the circle and saying something about Laura and then Melody. And it probably took us an hour and a half. And these kids sat so quietly, and they were so in it because a lot of times life going around us is so fast, we don't have a lot of time. We don't take a lot of time to consider who we are and who we are becoming, and to stop and have their peers say, this is a strength I see in you. That was powerful. What was something that you learned about yourself through that exercise? Anybody? Reach for the mic when you're ready.
In terms of me, when they went around the circle and said nice things about me, I don't really perceive myself to be a leader, but almost everyone that went around the circle said something about me being a good leader in the group, and that was just really, you could definitely feel that God was at work in the room, and it was amazing. Bonnie did a really good job with that activity. I would have never thought of that, so that was really cool.
You are.
Yeah, pass it that way.
Wait, what?
see. Something I learned about myself. All right. I mean, kind of the same way with Jake. I wasn't really known as a leader, same way, but I mean, everybody kind of said that I was a leader too that night. And yeah, I just kind of realized that I kept everyone in focus whenever we were working too. I mean, everybody did a really good job of that. But yeah, oh, your turn.
I learned that I was able to get along with people because I don't know how to share the dog cage most of the time, but I learned I could get along with people on the trip and not push everybody out of the way to be first or do what I want. I could do what other people want. And this trip, I actually enjoyed being more of a follower than a leader.
I think the thing that I learned about myself on this trip is that my mood is very contagious. Feels like whatever emotion I'm experiencing, everyone around me is also experiencing. So I try to stay happy. And actually, at the end of the trip, when we were sharing around the circle, everybody said that I was kind of the person who was just always feeling awesome and kept everybody else happy. And I thought that was kind of neat because I didn't really ever think about myself like that before, as the person whose mood affects everyone else. And there you go.
I'm new to the youth group. I just started this year, and I was definitely worried about being accepted and stuff. And that night, I just realized everyone likes me here, and I don't have to worry about being accepted.
I just started this year as well. One of the things I realized is that when I signed up to come on the mission trip, I just kind of went, yeah. I didn't think about what I would be doing at this particular point in the year. It just, as it turns out, the day before we left on the mission trip, I was moving out of my house and all of my stuff into storage and sleeping on a couch. And it was just the most inopportune time to go away on a trip for a week. But the Holy Spirit spoke to me and just said, "Let go. Just let it go. Don't think about it. Just let it go." So I went on the trip, and I didn't think about what I had to do when I came back, and I enjoyed myself, and I bonded really well with these fellas and girls, and one of the things I took from the trip was, as soon as I arrived back, it turns out that my sister had to move out of her apartment with her 2 teenage girls into a house. And so all those things that I was kind of saving up to try and accomplish, I had to yet push again off onto the back burner. And so I helped my sister move. But the moral is that serving others, when you decide to have less concern with everything that you have to accomplish in life and what you need to do, and you just focus on serving others, the Holy Spirit gives you peace about those things, and I don't worry. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason that we have mission Sundays like this, where we're just telling you about a ministry, is because there's opportunities every day. One of them being a mission trip coming up November 6th through the 12th, I think it is, with Pastor Jim. But there's other opportunities all around you, and we hope to inspire you to do something outside of your norm and serve the Lord alongside your Christian brothers and sisters, and take some time to recognize somebody's strength, what their talent is, and and a mission trip where those are the kind of things that you're focusing on, I think that becomes part of your Christian life outside of the mission trip, and you carry some of that over. Do any of you guys have stories of how, like, the week following the mission trip, you've still, like, something from the mission trip is still affecting this week?
Well, I still have poison ivy. But in all seriousness, it just kind of put an attitude in, I could probably speak for all of us, that we are all excited for the next mission. I mean, just around Springfield, Chatham area, or maybe the next big trip that we go on, I'm ready to go, and I'm kind of excited to see where that pans out. So.
And I guess I'll just reiterate what I said earlier, is that letting go of my own concerns of what I need to do, helping out my sister instead of seeing to all the things that I needed to do after I got back off my trip. I'm still helping her. So that's one of the things that carried through after the trip. It's I was able to let go on the trip, and then when I got back, it was easy for me to let go again to help someone else.
The thing that really affected me a lot after the mission trip was probably, it took a while to get used to being back, like, in all the sights and sounds of, I live in a small town, but you can all still hear cars going by at night and horns beeping and everything, all the lights on. But when we were in Cedar Ridge, we just slept in this tiny little cabin, and really it was a lot more quiet and a lot more peaceful than living in a small town or a city, so I enjoyed that a lot.
What I think really affected me and is still with me is just the kindness of knowing what we did, and I still feel that inside, just knowing that we really helped out the camp.
I think it was nice to help out the camp. I guess, I mean, I enjoy helping people. So whenever I got home, I would be sitting around and I still would think, oh, if I wanted to go do something, where's Jake and Laura? Let's go do this. Where's Luke at? And I would completely forget that we came home.
I definitely missed these guys after mission trip. Like Noah said, I was like, I could almost like see them. It was kind of weird, but I miss them and all the memories that we made on mission trip.
Yeah, I definitely think some new friendships were forged on this trip. We have a question from the back. Oh, well, we were mostly at this adorable little camp, Cedar Ridge Camp, and Mama T did the cooking and took care of us. There's a bit of an inside joke there. We won't go there. But one night we did go to a pizza place, Bierno's, before we went to the Louisville Slugger Museum. And that was great. We also visited, that evening, we visited the Presbyterian Church USA, the big old headquarters, and we talked to the youth mission guy that does the youth volunteer group. And so he told us a little bit about what the Presbyterian Church is doing in terms of missions, where they have different mission groups, missionaries, and how youth can get involved with that. And so that was pretty cool. We also each morning, I told them at 8 o'clock we're going to have morning devotions. Breakfast wasn't until 8:45. We're going to have devotions at 8 o'clock. Now, you might not think 8 o'clock sounds bad, but that's 7 o'clock Illinois time because we were in Louisville, Kentucky. So, 7 o'clock Illinois time, everybody's up for devotions. Didn't have any problem with getting everybody up. Sometimes we'd start 10 minutes late, but I would share a verse or two, and then I'd say, now go read one of those verses, but read it in context. Read a little above and a little below, and ask God what he's telling you through this scripture, and how he wants you to apply it to your life today and tomorrow and next week. And maybe this will give you some food for thought while you're, hauling logs over to the wood splitter and, same kind of repetitive activity over and over. This will give you something to chew on during your days on mission trip. How are you guys impacted by devotion time?
Personally, I'd never really done like a daily devotional before. I've gotten books for them, but I never really cracked them open and used them. So this was like the first time I'd ever done anything like that, and it was really neat to just kind of have something that, like Bonnie said, think on for the rest of the day. It's a great way to start off your day. It really just kind of sets you in focus for starting off a day of especially mission work. So it was really a good idea, and I'm glad we did it.
It got me back into the practice of praying early in the morning. Sometimes I, wake up and immediately start thinking about what I got to do next. And since we started praying in the morning during the mission trip, it kind of got me back into the practice of doing that on a regular basis.
It was really peaceful, and we almost got to know each other a little better by just having devotions in the same room.
Morning devotional time was a great time to get, food for thought for the rest of the day. And I know personally that a lot of times during devotionals, because I've been to a few, the verses don't really talk to me specifically that much. And I feel kind of honestly awkward because everybody's like, oh, this verse, it speaks to me a lot, and then everybody's agreeing with that. And I'm like, I thought it was really nice. But the verses that Bonnie picked, I could actually connect with a lot of them. And that was kind of special to me.
In morning devotional time, I still have a lot of the verses written down that I really liked. And, even since the mission trip, I've already opened it up and looked at a few of them. And, I wrote a couple notes about them. And, it's a really good way to start your morning, especially whenever you're on a trip trying to help people.
I took what she gave me. I read about him, and I wrote about him every day, and I still think about it. That was it.
Okay, guys, lightning round before we end with our last song of the service. All right, all of these can be answered by a name of somebody in the group. Are you ready? Who do you say sent ya? You're right. No, Luke sent ya. Yeah, that's what you say. Come on, you guys got to all answer, and I expect it to be much faster, so wake up. Who inhales Oreos? Who played the best sassy Goliath? Who decides your fate in Gladiator? Who thinks you're a good man? Yeah. Who adopts you as her children? Who can keep his cool no matter what? Who is chill? Who is the backbone? Who is the backbone? Who has the wisest things to say? I'll take a couple of answers for that. I would have taken Noah for that. Like, Noah had some one-liners that were like, whoa. One of my favorites was, I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm like a book. You crack me open, and there's just pages and pages or something like that. Like, and it was so great because it was in context of he'd gotten back from being away for 11 months, and 30 minutes into the trip, Jake and Luke started asking him some questions, and he's just like, man, that was a great experience, and they just asked more and more, and he just told them all about it, and this friendship was forged right then, and it just got thicker and thicker. Man, these guys are tight. They're brothers now, I'm sure. Well, thank you guys. Let's give them a round of applause. You can go ahead.
One last thing before we step down. We would all, as a group, like to thank you guys for making it possible to go on a mission trip. Thank you for flocking people's yards, buying Avanti sandwiches, and taking money off the money wall. We all really appreciate it, and we wouldn't have been able to do as much as we did without you. So thank you. You guys deserve a round of applause.